All right. A bit of a stuttered start, but here we are in the first ever Wakelet podcast, coming directly from Manchester in the United Kingdom. Michael here from the Wakelet team. I'm very excited about this, and I am joined by colleagues, peers, friends from the Wakelet team. Family, absolutely. Nice. So yeah, just like to do a quick intro to those of us who are here. Amy, how are you doing?
Hello, I can't beat your intro. We love it every time. But yes, I'm Amy. I'm very happy to be here. We've, just started doing these podcasts, which we're really excited about. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Hey Sam, how are things with you?
Never been better. Love this podcast, love being here.
Great. And Misbah, how are you doing today?
I'm good. As soon as we hit start, I immediately feel the need to clear my throat, every single time. But I'm gonna wait until somebody else speaks, and then I'm gonna go. Really? Oh, I did it just
do a side one.
There we go. Equally as excited. I'm really happy to be, starting this and starting this journey. I think it makes sense, right? As a Wakelet team, I think that there's, a lot that we want to share about our experiences, not only with the platform, but working with, so many incredible people every single day. And I think it brings us closer to our community, and it will bring our community closer to us as well. So
yeah, absolutely. And I like the word journey there. And I think this is what the podcast is going to be, and is going to reflect, is the journey that we are on as individuals, and of course as a team as well. Just to do a bit of housekeeping, this podcast is going to be mostly about personal development and the journey that we are all on in developing personally.
Love that.
Just to do a bit of housekeeping for what this podcast is going to be about. There's no real agenda or structure to the conversation. It's just going to be a chat among friends, discussing things like personal development, our journeys, what we want to achieve. Listeners can dip in and out. Discover some relatability, some things that they might be able to relate to. But just to get the ball rolling, Misbah, personal development.
No.
To put you in the hot spot.
Definitely in the hot spot. Yeah. So, personal development for me is all about identifying your strengths and identifying your weaknesses. Because I think as human beings, one of the best things that we can do is realize what we're really, really good at and own that and be proud of it, but also realize the areas in which we struggle as well. You can't be good at absolutely everything. It's impossible. And you can't have a team that's where everybody's absolutely good at everything or trying to be good at everything as well, because there's going to be conflict, there's going to be tension, everyone's going to try and outdo each other. So for me, the biggest part, I think, in my personal development journey, which started many, many, many moons ago, is trying to make it as poetic as possible. is identifying the things which I know that I'm really good at, and then identifying the things which I'm bad at. Now, in certain cases, you can try and take your weaknesses and try and make them your strengths, but sometimes give up. That's I know it's not usually the kind of thing that you hear because it's not very motivational. But if I know that I'm terrible at mathematics. I'm not going to try and, at this point, at 31, I'm not going to try and get better at maths. It's just, it's not me. Whereas, there are things which I know that I rock at, and I try and own those, and I try and do those to the best of my ability. And I try and create a dynamic where when the team needs that particular skill which I'm good at, that they're going to call on me. So yeah, I'd say that's the first step, is identify the things which you're not good at, see which ones you could maybe work on and which ones you're just going to write off. And then the things which you're really good at, supercharge them, own them, be really confident in them.
Yeah, and I think it's discovering what you're good at and what you're not so good at. But somewhere in there is the concept of passion. What role does passion play in your life, Sam, would you say?
Ooh, the role of passion in my life. Well, I'd say for me, passion is... It's kind of, I've chosen one thing that I'm doing, really. I've chosen a creative path, and that is something that I am really passionate about, because I think it's not good to be a jack of all trades, master of none. I think it's nice to kind of choose something that you can excel at, something that you're really passionate in, and then just go for it and really kind of own that field. Yeah. And, if people want advice on that certain thing, they'll know to come to you. I like that about it, choose something you're passionate about.
Yeah, and you always find that when you have chosen or you found that thing that you're really passionate about, one, you enjoy it more and you tend to do better at it as well. I've always found that, you know, if I'm not enjoying something, I'm not normally going to do very well in it because I don't want to. So when you're passionate about something and you want to throw your absolute all into it, and you find that passion, then that kind of just comes out naturally with it. And it's sort of like, you know, takes over, if you like, and then it just flows more naturally, and it becomes what you are then good at, because that's what you want to dedicate your time to, that's what you want to get better in. And then he becomes.
What I love about that is the concept of passion paves the way. We speak about a journey in personal development, and you can be strategic with it, you can pursue it in a certain way, but the reality is sometimes it's the passion that informs where you go. So I think that's kind of what I've gathered from what each of you has said, and I think that's great.
I think Sam touched on something really good as well, which is like being able to actually choose the thing that you want to excel in, like have a really direct focus. And honestly, like I can't remember if for some reason the Einstein is in my head, and that he quoted on what he wants to like leave behind for his children. It could not be Einstein, by the way, but for some reason that's in my head. But yeah, we'll go with it. But he said that the only thing that he wants in life is for his children to really excel in the fields that they've chosen, right? And I thought that was really beautiful, because it's not just excel and be successful in life. It's like you've chosen something that you want to be really good at, and because you've chosen that means that you have to enjoy it. You have to have had passion to it, you know, in the first place, and then excelling in that. I think that's you know, that's one of the best things that you can do. Yeah,
and that reminds me of something that Cristiano Ronaldo, the footballer, said. He was asked, I think, about his young son, do you want your son to be a footballer like you? And he was like, yeah, sure, it'd be nice, but if he isn't a footballer, I just want him to be the best at what he does, or I want him to, you know, pursue being the best. I mean, I know that's really intense, and it comes from a sporting kind of value system, but for the pursuit of being the best, is that something that resonates with you, Amy? Do you think that's...
Yeah, I mean, I've always, no matter what I've done in my life, you know, I could be, and I always kind of say, I could be, you know, sweeping or sacking shelves or anything I was doing, I want to put my all into it, because, you know, I'm, especially, you know, when you bring it back to work, you're there for a long time, you know, throughout your day, and you spend a lot of time doing that. So you want to throw your absolute all into it. And, you know, whether it's being the best, and you know, you're not going to always be the best at it, but at least you know that you're doing everything you can, and putting everything into it. I think that's more important, like the effort that you put into something, and always, you know, at least trying. And I, like Misbah was saying about, you know, finding things that you might not be good at, you know, even if you get to the point where, okay, this isn't for me, this isn't really, you know, where I shine, it's putting enough time and energy into it beforehand to at least give it a shot, I think, and make sure that you've, you know, really put your effort into trying it. So even if it's not being the best, putting the effort in.
I mean, I guess it kind of reflects the value of setting goals for yourself. You know, I mean, I think for myself, I set loose goals. I know I've always kind of been encouraged to set 5-year goals or 10-year goals. And, you know, as I get older, I feel like that's a little bit more beneficial to me. But back when I was originally instructed to do that, I was like, that's way too intense. But I think like long-term goals obviously is something a little bit more serious. But even daily goals, weekly goals, if it's in a working environment or a working context, or it could be applicable to any area of your life, if it's social environments, family environments. Sorry, Misbah got wrapped up in a wire there. Threw me out, caught me off guard. But yeah, the value of setting goals, Misbah. Do you set goals? Do you see the point in it? Does it add too much structure? What's your thought on it?
So I don't lead a very structured, regimented life. Like I kind of wish that I did, but to some degrees I quite like a chaotic life, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I don't plan ahead a lot, you know, much to the, you know, disappointment of my friends and my family and my loved ones. I rarely make plans ahead. I just, you know, I'll do things at, you know, at the spur of the moment. And when it comes to like achievements that I set in my life, though, they're very vague, but they're ambitious, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I don't know if it works for me. I don't know if it works for anybody else, to be honest with you. That's just the way that I am. But back to what you were saying about like, you know, being the best at something. I think it's good to have that in your head as a motivating factor, but you can take it too far. And you know, quite often when we look at people who have really become the best, whether it's in sport or music or, you know, literature, whatever it might be, they're very complex individuals because they've decided to literally only, tunnel vision focus on that one thing. So I was watching the Netflix documentary, The Last Dance, about Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls, like in the 90s. I know we keep coming back to sports, which I rarely do, but it makes sense here. And you could see Michael Jordan's work ethic to be the best basketball player of all time. Now, to do that, you have to sacrifice being a nice person. You have to sacrifice spending time with your family. You have to sacrifice, doing things for civil rights, which, if you compare him to like Muhammad Ali or something, it's a stark contrast. Yeah. And I think at the end of it, when it's all said and done, yes, you're the best basketball player of all time, but the only thing that you've had to offer the world really is basketball. You know what I mean?
What is the cost?
Yeah, at what cost? So, I don't know. I prefer, when it comes to setting goals and things, I prefer to keep them ambitious, but vague enough for there to be wriggle room. Because if you set yourself a really determined goal and you don't meet it, you're kind of setting yourself up for a little bit of disappointment there, which can mess with you. So, yeah, as long as you know where you're headed in life, how you get there is half of the fun. You don't have to plan it
100%.
out.
And I think, again, it taps into the journey element of what we're speaking about. It's not the destination, it's the journey. So we've mentioned characters like Michael Jordan, Cristiano Ronaldo, Albert Einstein, the greats in their various fields. With heroes or role models, is there anyone, Sam, that you look at and think, whether it's in the market or in the skill set of graphic design or the tech industry, or if it's someone completely detached from that area, is there anyone that you look at and think, I would like to achieve something or some component of what they've achieved in my personal life? Is that something that you do proactively?
In terms of someone I look up to career-wise, I'd definitely say like Johnny Ive, the designer who kind of designed the iPod, like pretty much all Apple products that we know and love. Cool. Just because even though it's not graphic design, it's still the same discipline, and it's just amazing to see someone who kind of went in and like created so many iconic things, not because, imagine being the best or being the most famous designer, but knowing how many people love those products. Yeah. Like, I really admire Johnny Ive because he did like create so many experiences for people that like it's touched so many people on the world. So
would you say that's something that drives you is the impact that your work has on people?
I actually watched a TV show, Halston, on Netflix, another Netflix shout out there, recently, and there was a quote on it which I really, really liked, and it was in terms of design. It said, stop thinking about how you want it to look and start thinking about how you want people to feel when they see it. And I think that's a really nice one to remember, because we can get so carried away in the end product of what we're trying to do, and we can almost kind of tunnel vision ourselves and create something that no one actually wants. It's important to kind of have a goal, like what do we want to achieve with it, and then be flexible with what the actual final output's going to be.
I remember I studied film studies for my undergrad, and that was exactly what they encourage people or filmmakers to do, is think about how the audience feels when they watch your work. So it's great that, it's so applicable to any work that you do, especially in the tech industry. I feel it's all about what the audience or what the people that are using your product feel when they're actually going through that process. To jump back again to the role model hero question, Amy, is that relevant to you? Is there individuals that you look up to?
There are people that I admire and I like sort of their work and things like that, but for me, a little bit like you were saying, Misbah, about not having these very specific goals and things like that. It's just kind of an idea, like an ideology of what my life will be, like without sounding like too mushy or anything like that. My mum and dad, they're hard workers. They have they've been able to support the family, never gone without, and for me to be able to create that myself, that's really like what I'd want to create. It's not a massive, I don't want 10,000 mansions or anything like that. I don't think anyone has 10,000 mansions. That's quite a few.
That's a lot of mansions.
So that's like a global property company.
That's just like too many mansions.
That's an empire.
Yeah. I think I was going to say 10, but it's not anything to, of course I want to love what I do, and I want to be good at it, and I want to, I don't think anyone doesn't want to be, successful, but it's what you kind of mark like success is, success as. So, yeah, I wouldn't say one person that, I look up to or anything like that, but that sort of ideology of being able to support myself, my family, and work hard for that.
I think
really,
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, because it reminded me of what people were saying when we were talking about passion and things like that as well. I can't remember who said it, but someone said that if you love what you do, you'll never work again. And that's what I want out of what I do. If I can go to work every day, if I can be doing something that I really enjoy, that's success in my eyes.
Great. Yeah, I really like the ideology drive that you have. I think I relate to it a lot, and it's more principle or values and ideology that drives me forward in terms of what I want to achieve personally. You can break it down into all these goals and achievements, but it's achieving a certain set of principles that I can be proud of and reflects, the background that I'm proud of and where I come from. I think I like the ideology element of that. Just to throw a bit of a curveball in, and I'm kind of bringing this up because of the really nice smell of toast that's seeping from the kitchen.
I noticed it's like a cinnamony type toast. It's
quite intoxicating.
Bagels.
Yeah, bagels.
We're currently sitting in the Wakelet office here, as I said, in Manchester in the UK, and for some reason there's a consistent smell of toast going around the office.
Not burnt toast though, because that would be a medical emergency.
Yeah.
Perfectly cooked toast.
Perfectly cooked toast. Yeah.
Rumour has it that that's the smell of a ghost.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Of a ghost.
A ghost.
Ghost smells like burnt toast.
Yeah.
The toast ghost.
The toast ghost.
Never wanted ghosts around me so much.
The curveball being prompted by that is, Misbah, I'm very interested to know, what did you eat for breakfast this morning?
What did I eat for breakfast this morning? Come on, it's turned into like a bit of a meme. I ate a bowl of Cheerios. So what I'd usually do is I'd have a bowl of Cheerios, and I'll have an egg mayonnaise, or as the Americans say, egg salad sandwich. But I've cut out the egg mayonnaise sandwich because I just think it's an unnecessary amount of calories to have in the morning. So I had that and a cup of decaf coffee. Yeah,
Is
it
that
was
part
delicious.
Of it sounds great. Egg mayonnaise. I've never heard of anyone eating that, but
It's a yeah. I mean,
morning as well,
people don't think that it's a morning food, but it is. It's
Okay.
And I'm a mayo lover, as we all know.
We know that.
I think I'm an after 12 o'clock.
You have
lover.
you have a stash of mayo sachets, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
That's a secret.
Probably in your pocket right now.
everyone knows now.
It's like if you get nervous, you're just like,
Just give me have a shot.
Yeah.
No, I do have my handbag mayonnaise for emergencies.
You say handbag
So not
mayonnaise?
pocket-
Is that a handbag of mayonnaise?
No, it's just some sachets in my handbag in case in case I've got a dry sandwich or
it's emergency mayonnaise.
it's emergency mayonnaise.
Mayday mayonnaise.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
Sam, you're going to say something.
I was just going to say I'm not judging you, Misbah, because people would think nothing of having like a fried egg on toast for breakfast.
Exactly.
You've just got that and you've gone like that.
Yeah, precisely.
It makes sense to me.
Without getting too enveloped in the topic of breakfast, what I want to ask about morning routines. I feel like that's a very structured, lifestyle, positive approach to starting your day. But is there legitimacy in it, Amy? Do you feel like you have a morning routine?
I do. It doesn't always go to plan. I rely on public transport and things like that, so it doesn't always go to plan. But I definitely think having that structure in the morning does set you up for a good day. I know when, if you're flustered or something's late or, you haven't had time to do so-and-so or something's thrown you off that routine, you feel the effects of that throughout the day. So, when you do start your day the right way, and I'm doing quotation marks because there's no right way, but your way, if I should say. So, yeah, you can feel the benefits of doing that setup. Mine isn't too fancy. Get up, shower, head out the door. It's not too fancy. So I won't delve too deep into mine. But anyone else have any weird, wonderful things that I do in the morning?
After you, and then I'll tell a little story.
I mean, I don't know how it's pretty vanilla, I would say, but I think
as opposed to
the intense start to the day that Amy has. I kind of value time in the morning, and I think this is something that I discovered quite recently, weirdly enough, during lockdown, in fact, because obviously my start to the day was continuing from where I was sleeping. I wanted to kind of diversify a little bit, just do something a bit different. But anyway, it's kind of getting up earlier, giving myself some time, having a really nice cup of coffee and watching TV, watching daytime TV like Frasier or Everybody Loves Raymond. I think that's like a really comforting start to the day. But besides that, yeah, it's just like a peaceful start to the day that's
Cozy.
Yeah, give yourself the time, and I think there's value in that.
That's the opposite of I got a very, very disturbing relationship with sleep. I always have. Like, my relationship with sleep is very odd. I never quite feel rested when I wake up in the morning, and that's what leads me to try and like milk every second that I can out of sleep, even if it's like an extra 2 minutes or so. Yeah. But like there'll be times literally where I'll wake up and I'll realize, I need to get to the office. I'm late for work, whatever. So I'll go about my morning routine. I'll pack my bag and everything, and I'll go to the bathroom and I'll be brushing my teeth. And then as I'm brushing my teeth, I'll notice that there's something odd in the bathroom, that this is not like, actually, this isn't my bathroom. What's going on? And then I'll have a sudden realization that I'm still asleep and that I was dreaming the whole thing. Wow. And I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh my God, you know?
It's when you have those mundane dreams and you already think you've started the day.
Yes, exactly.
Not fun.
Yeah, and that my sleep is plagued by strange things like
strange
that.
Dreams,
sleep
paralysis,
not necessarily nightmares. No. But it's so much to the point where I actually can remember when I've had a good sleep. Like, I can remember times in my life where, oh my God, I've woken up and I had such a great sleep. But I don't feel very rested. My morning routine is a sloppy mess, if I'm honest.
Sounds like you could do some work on it.
I could if I try to, but yeah, it's been like that for many years now, so I don't see it changing.
Do you think like proactively making changes or trying to improve it would help, or is it, it's a beast of its own? There's no point trying to tame it.
I don't know. I think at this point it's probably like a physiological thing. like I don't get me wrong. Like I can go to sleep and I can have the most craziest, most vivid, dramatic dreams ever, so that by the time I wake up, it's been like an epic apocalyptic movie throughout the whole night. And when I wake up, I'm more tired. I'm exhausted from just having to process like thinking and visualizing the stuff which are happening in my dreams. So by the time I wake up, I'm like, well, that was a waste. So I very rarely have just like deep twilight sleep, So by the time I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, let's just get in the car and let's just get to work, start the day,
get the show on the road.
But you do then know you wake up knowing how to survive an apocalypse. Zombie takeover.
Very rarely, no. I always end up perishing in the apocalypse. Okay. That's how I wake up.
That does sound. Yeah. Sam, I hope your sleep experiences are less traumatic, but
I have my fair share of nightmares, I've got to say. But in terms of a morning routine, I don't really have. You hear all these things. It's like I wake up and I have a cold shower, and then I make my bed, and then I like do 15 press-ups. Like, it's not like that.
American Psycho style.
Yeah, I think you've got to be kind to yourself. Like you were saying, Michael, like watch a nice TV show, have a coffee, like chill out, enjoy it. Personally, I get up and scroll on my phone. I know it's a bad habit, but that's the way it is. And I'll stay in bed for a little bit too long, look at the time and go, oh no, and then have like a mad rush to get ready. But then that usually helps me kind of wake up and get ready for the day, because I then end up speed walking to work, listening to some like pumped up music, getting me ready for the day. Yeah. And then I walk into the office only slightly flustered, but ready to like hop straight in.
Yeah.
And that works for me.
Sounds great, Sam. Love it. And I do think it's the extra few minutes in bed that are the most blissful moments of the day.
Yeah.
Also the music that you choose. Yeah.
Let's talk about music.
Or the podcast you choose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I love a podcast in the morning as well.
Do you listen? Okay, well, but if you're listening to music, do you listen to music while you work? Is it like pumped up music to kind of achieve your goals?
Yeah, it's a mix really. It depends what kind of task I'm doing. If it's something I've got really like, just crack on do, it's earphones in, it's Kings of Leon, like bang, 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 and like just going for it. Then sometimes I do have a chill. I chill playlist.
Everyone has
playlist.
A playlist.
And sometimes I'm like, do the emails.
Lo-fi beats. Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely depends on the mood and what I need to get done. So it's whether you have to go or you can.
That was a massive curveball. Massive.
Yeah, massive.
Are you referring to the breakfast?
Yeah, look at what it started.
I'm exhausted.
Opened up a wormhole.
Opened
Yeah,
up a lot.
I'm confessing my night terrors to a global
Sleep
audience.
paralysis.
Yeah,
That's an image. Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay.
To reel it in a little bit. Well, not really. I have an interesting game that a friend of mine once showed me. I want to volunteer for this. Is there anybody that would like to volunteer?
I mean,
it's a lot more tame than I'm kind of suggesting it is.
if there's a game that you want someone to volunteer for, there's never going to be a situation where I'm not going to volunteer for.
Okay, well, that's exactly what I need. So this is a bit bizarre, and it is, well, I'll just go straight in, I guess. What is your favorite animal?
Okay. So look, most people are going to go for
I'm so scared.
I know. I was like, what's this going to mean? I was expecting, I was bracing myself for
I was
some
as well,
deep
to be honest. I felt like I was building
existential
a lot of tension.
question. Yeah, but no, what's your favorite animal?
Well, it kind of leads to an existential.
Okay, so I think that although I'm gravitating towards things like tigers and
The first thing that comes to your head, and be bold or flex it up a little bit. Like if you're going to say, my favorite animal is a wolf because wolves are cool.
All right, so I'll do this. Okay, my favorite animal is a duck-billed platypus because it goes against nature, it goes against logic, it goes against everything. Okay, it's a mammal that lays eggs. It's got fur, but it also has webbed feet. It has a tail that is poisonous.
Wow.
It's a bizarre animal. It is a very versatile animal, which is why I try and relate to it a little bit.
That's
Not that I have a poisonous tail, but just
well, it's very interesting.
I do have webbed feet.
You lay eggs.
Okay, well, I mean, that's speaking of curveballs. But the second part to that question is, what's your second favorite animal?
I like snails. Yeah, snails are cool. I like how docile they are and, very patient. I think snails. No, I think that, if you try and look at a snail crossing from here to here, the amount of patience that requires, I mean, and patience with like the very direct threat that you could just get crushed and stamped on at any time because you've got a very fragile shell.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think they're aware of that though.
You'd be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I always
So,
help snails
they're
across
all
when to pick them up and then they recoil.
I'm a snail mover. Yeah.
oh, really?
I've got a question about snails. Do you think they're going fast in their minds? Like, they're slow to us because we're bigger than them, but on their level, are they like, whew?
I just think they're going as fast as they know they can go.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know how much awareness of speed they have.
Fair enough.
I'm not a snail expert. They could be all seeing, all knowing. I do not know.
That'll be next episode.
I'm really interested in hearing where this is going.
Yeah, it's interesting. The reasonings behind the animals is well, yeah, we'll see what you think of it. But the exercise is your favorite animal is how you want people to see you, how you want people to perceive you. And your second favorite animal is how people actually see
I see what you did there. You've landed me right in it, right? So
I was hoping that you wouldn't press me to continue with the exercise. But
I like to see myself as an exotic, versatile thing. But the reality is that when people look at me, they think, "Look how slow that guy's going."
Wait,
It is fragile shell. Yeah, come on, hurry up.
I am so
Oh, you
sorry.
need some help. I'm going to move you across. Okay, there you go. Yeah. You tricked me. You tricked me there.
I tricked you. I didn't expect that.
I don't think you're slow or anything like that. The only thing you take from that, but you are quite laid back. Like
Yeah.
you're easy to speak to. You're not one to panic in situations and things like that. You stay very calm and collected.
Yeah.
And you're the person to go to if we're like, oh my gosh, we've got to get this done, and you're like, it's okay.
It's a great save, right?
You know,
What you did.
I
Right?
know.
That's a good save.
I know.
I felt
But it's
sad.
true.
Now you
It
made me
is true.
feel
Yeah,
happy.
it is true. So
Thanks, Amy.
I see the snail in you.
Okay, good. I see this. I see the
positive
snail in me as
snail.
well. Yeah.
And I think you're one of a kind, like the platypus.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good.
It's positive
That's
to both.
actually. I'm definitely going to be doing that because it's a really good way to like raise somebody up and then,
And to be fair,
drop them down to
Drop 'em
reality.
down.
yeah, bring them back
in a
down.
place.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be fair, most people say, "Oh, my favorite is a tiger or a lion. My second favorite is an elephant." Just like the go-to animals, and yeah, I think it speaks a lot of, well, where your mind goes to very abstract animals, which is
Yeah.
great. I think it's cool, very creative.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about manifestation. If in doubt, talk about manifestation. That's the podcast rule, isn't it? But no, I'm being serious. Let's talk about manifestation.
Yeah, let's get deep.
Do you think there's any value in it, Sam? It's like visualizing what you want to achieve, and does that have a direct impact on actually achieving it?
Yeah, to certain levels. I mean, I think sitting there and like going over it in your head over and over again probably isn't healthy.
Yeah.
But, you know, having, like we said, some goals and then thinking not like, oh, I'm going to try and get this, but like, I will be there. Like, I will be there at this time. Or, you know, I am going to be this. You definitely are speaking it into like truth, because even though you can't like make it happen just by saying it, you can definitely put yourself in the mind frame of the winner. You can kind of say, like, I actually am capable of this, where a lot of people, the biggest block is the doubt. And by manifesting it and saying it, you're just killing the doubt at its root, which I think is
positive
important.
thinking.
Yeah.
Amy, thoughts? Do you think?
Yeah,
you agree?
no, I agree. I think as well, if you can kind of like, it's almost that seeing is believing. And even though you're not completely seeing it, if you're manifesting it and you're, you know, seeing yourself in that position, I think it's a great motivator. And seeing and imagining how you'd feel in that position, and it would push you to do further. Saying really, but yeah, I kind of would go back to sort of how I see my life being, and again, I don't have too, you know, clearer picture of that, but it's a nice thing to head towards anyway.
This is positive thinking. It's always gonna have a good impact.
I'm a bit conflicted, honestly, on the manifestation thing, because like when you see like that there are many celebrities and people who've like achieved massive amounts of success. And I think it was like Jim Carrey, for example, where like before he was even an actor, he wrote like a check for like $1 million or something to Jim Carrey for acting services. And he like kept it with him wherever he was. And then for one of his movies in the 90s, he received a check for $1 million. And it's like, you know, he you know, wrote that down and like manifested it, let's say. Yeah. But for every person who does that, there's like millions of people around the world who are just stuck doing what they're doing and who are still reading lots of self-help books about manifestation, reading The Secret and things like that. And they stay where they are. And it's a strange phenomena where people can actually become quite addicted to self-improvement without actually ever self-improving. You know, they can become addicted to consuming self-improvement literature without ever actually making an effect on themselves. On the other side, I think it's great to think positively and to always assume the best. I think it's like, you know, prepare for the worst, but always assume the best. Always think that the best thing is going to happen, and that if something bad does happen, you know, okay, like I guess this is happening right now. Let's deal with it. And funnily enough, like the things that you as an individual worry about the most, like I guarantee you that like all three of you here right now have worried about things endlessly for so many times during your lives. And I guarantee you that like not one of those things ever came true and manifested, you know? So I think it's just about trying to like decrease the amount of things that you worry about in your life. And the universe tends to unfold in the way that it should. And a lot of the time, what these like self-help books and these ideas of manifestation and that kind of thing are missing is work ethic. It's the idea that like, if you have a goal and work towards it, you know, that's going to be the best thing that you can do. And that's tried and tested over, you know, our existence as humans. If you work hard at something, you're going to get it. So,
yeah, I think it's that putting the action to it as well. So I think with manifestation, you can think about what you want and you can see what you want, but you have to act on that to get what you want. And you have to, I said about work ethic and things like that, you do have to put the work in. You do have to. It's not going to just appear. So you can't get too caught up in the idea and the picture of that. You have to actually work towards it as well and put the work in to actually get what you want as well.
The one thing that like I remember the very moment when I realized that the biggest difference in life is literally like hard work was I was working in North Africa, and at the time everybody was like hating on like Justin Bieber and One Direction. It was cool. This was like before they were cool, you know. They were cool to a lot of people, but not cool to like adults. And I remember like they didn't have internet access where I was, and you know, if you wanted to like have some entertainment, you'd go to like a shop and they'd have some like, sorry, but you know, different jurisdiction, pirated like DVDs. And there was nothing on there. There was nothing that I could find in the shop other than the One Direction documentary, which was from like 2012 or something. So I was like, do you know what? Okay, fine. It's the only thing available. So I watched it, and in my mind, I'm like One Direction, group of kids. They're like get mollycoddle all the time. They like miming on stage, the blah blah blah. You know, they don't deserve their success. And then when I watched the documentary, and I realized that they're like up at like 5 a.m., that they're touring for like 300 days out of the year, from country to country, having to get up on stage every single day and dance and sing, and then go back to the hotel and then immediately get a flight here. And I was like, my God, I've never worked a day in my life as hard as they are working right now. It's like, who am I to judge? You know what I mean? So I think that on that day that I realized, like, yeah, like all these success stories, they come from hard work. There's no cheat code for it. There's no amount of realization or manifestation that you can do that will substitute really, really hard work.
There's another thing as well that you kind of touched on. It's almost like a jealousy when you see people with success. I know I've certainly felt it like in the past. You know, you'll see someone doing really well and you think, oh, why are they getting that? Because I work hard as well. But like you're saying, you don't know how hard they work. And if you're being honest with yourself, you might not work as hard as them.
Yep.
I've been there, I feel it. But as one thing that someone said to me, which I really, like, it really stuck with me and it changed the way I felt was, when you stop judging others, you'll feel the judgment lifted from yourself. And like, once I started thinking like that, I stopped looking at other people being like, oh, why have they got that? Why have I got that? Why have that?
Yeah.
Instead, I just started focusing on my own thing. And honestly, I did a lot better.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because you can build barriers, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really bad at comparing ourselves to other people. You know, we all do it on social media or whatever we're doing that on, but we don't know how they got there. We don't know, and we can't change anything that they're doing. We can only change what we're doing, and we can only change our own behaviours. So, yeah, I suppose putting the focus back on yourself and doing what you need to do to get to where you need to be, rather than, okay, they've got that. How did they get that? Well, no, maybe look at how you can get that.
Comparison is the enemy of joy.
I think that is the perfect place to end the conversation. So much wisdom, real mic drop moment. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this conversation. I think we shared a lot of thoughts and we're open and honest and a lot of food for thought. And I think a really good foundation to build upon as this podcast series continues. So to all the listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. Plenty more interesting conversations to come, I'm sure, on the Wakelet Soundwaves podcast. Share your personal development ideas, tips with us and whatever questions that you might have. Or if you have any thoughts or topics that you would like us to discuss on this podcast, feel free to share them with us on social media. And
also just a quick shout out to anybody watching this as well. If you have any tips on how to like get a nice night's sleep, like I'm not asking for like I'm not asking for like a beautiful, peaceful.
Just send help.
Yeah. Just leave them in the comments below.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to try each one out every single night and see which one works. And if one does work, throw your t-shirt. Send you a t-shirt. Send you some Wakelet swag. Yeah.
Sounds good. The beginning of a very exciting journey. So this podcast is available on all podcast channels for those of you who perhaps are commuting to work and are looking to listen. But if you'd like to have a behind the scenes peek and see the video recording of this, it will be available on the Wakelet YouTube channel, as well every other podcast that we're going to be filming in the coming weeks. Really excited. But yeah, special thanks to my good friends, Misbah, Sam and Amy for joining me.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you.
Thank you very much for everybody for listening.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.